On the occasion of Orthodox Easter, a glimmer of hope emerged for a pause in the devastating conflict gripping Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin declared a 36-hour Easter truce, intended as a gesture of goodwill. This ceasefire, announced on Saturday, April 19, 2025, was scheduled to last from 6 p.m. Moscow time until midnight Sunday into Monday. The announcement was met with cautious optimism by the international community, but was immediately overshadowed by skepticism from Ukraine. The hoped-for respite from violence proved short-lived as both sides accused each other of violating the truce. Ukraine claimed that Russia had used the ceasefire as a smokescreen, continuing shelling in the contested regions of Donetsk and Luhansk. They alleged that Russia exploited the truce to reposition heavy military equipment, indicating a lack of commitment to a genuine cessation of hostilities. Ukrainian officials cited numerous instances of shelling and attacks by Russian units, painting a grim picture of the truce's fragility. Russia countered with their own accusations, alleging over 1,000 violations by Ukraine. They claimed that Ukrainian forces had launched attacks on Russian positions, including drone strikes, and had targeted civilian areas in Bryansk, Kursk, and Belgorod. Both sides presented figures and specific incidents to bolster their claims, making it difficult to discern the veracity of the accusations fully. The blame game only served to highlight the deep mistrust that continues to plague any attempt at de-escalation. The Easter truce has been widely perceived as a calculated political maneuver by Putin, aimed at garnering domestic and international support. By portraying Russia as the peacemaker and Ukraine as the aggressor unwilling to observe a ceasefire, Putin sought to sway public opinion and potentially gain leverage in future negotiations. Ukraine, however, viewed the truce as a cynical ploy, with President Zelensky questioning Putin's sincerity and reiterating Ukraine's willingness to engage in a more substantial 30-day ceasefire. Analysts have echoed this sentiment, suggesting that the truce was primarily a public relations exercise. They argue that the short duration and the timing of the announcement, coinciding with Orthodox Easter, were strategically chosen to maximize propaganda value. The lack of any concrete steps towards a lasting peace agreement further reinforces the view that the truce was more about optics than a genuine desire to end the bloodshed. The international community, while welcoming the truce as a step in the right direction, expressed concern over the reported violations. The UN, EU, and the U.S. State Department urged both sides to adhere to the ceasefire and called for a return to the negotiating table. The U.S. in particular expressed disappointment over the truce's short duration and called for its extension, a proposal that Russia promptly rejected. This lukewarm response underscored the international community's frustration with the lack of progress in resolving the conflict. Despite the fanfare surrounding the Easter truce, it failed to translate into a tangible reduction in violence. The continued fighting, coupled with the mutual accusations of breaches, only deepened the sense of despair among the Ukrainian populace. Residents of Kiev, the nation's capital, met the truce with skepticism, citing immediate air raid alerts and missile attacks as evidence of its hollowness. This skepticism reflects the deep-seated mistrust that has come to define the relationship between the two nations, making the prospect of a lasting peace seem more distant than ever.